Hi guys, Knock Knock Neil here, your therapy buddy, and I'm here to share my lesson in standards, self-respect, and self-validation, and maybe even a small lesson in whether or not friends that you have today, you know, about friendship and stuff like that. Just a small warning before I start: there is some mild adult content in the following story I'm about to share with you. So yeah, just anyway. So that's what it is. Okay, so 10 years ago, I meet somebody, classic story, boy meets girl, and we develop a friends with benefits relationship. And it was cool. That's what I wanted. That's what he wanted. It was cool for the both of us. It's not a problem, right? Now, fast forward 10 years, I see him like last week, right? And he wants to meet up and this and that. And we're talking, and he starts to tell me about how I've known you for 10 years. I'm really tired of the way that you do things. I want things to go, I want things to, be more my way and this, that, and the third. And a little bit of a background, I guess, on the way that I am. So I don't know if I structure or compartmentalize, but I have certain standards in place, right? So if a particular person is, let's say, my partner, my boyfriend, my husband, whatever, they're going to get more of me than I'm going to give to, a friends with benefits guy, someone who doesn't really want to be around, is strictly a sexual relationship. There's no commitment, no investment, no emotions, maybe some emotion, but like nothing really too crazy, right? So because, and friends with benefits guys get different things, and, my main guy will get more thing, all the same things, but more things because he's my main guy. That's I'm going to give him more of me. That just makes sense, right? But my friend is starting to tell me that, and he's tired. Well, on top of that, because I said before I start to go on there. So because I set my standards that way, he didn't like the fact that he just got like friends with benefits treatment. He wanted like boyfriend treatment, and that was his whole argument. His whole argument was, I've known you for 10 years. I'm tired of the way you do things. I want things to be more my way, which is self centered speak for um, your standards of self respect. Your standards of self respect are an inconvenience to me, right? Because I know him. I know this guy. We're friends. I got to know him, and he's a really self centered person, right? So when you're dealing with certain people, you really need to listen to who they are rather than what they're saying, right? So a good person will say things a good person would say. They would be understanding, non judgmental, they'll be helpful, and they would say things that display that, right? With self centered people, well, like my friend, he's trying to tell me certain things that will only benefit him but not benefit me at all. How is it going to benefit me if I lower my standards of self-respect so that he can get in a little bit easier? How does that benefit me? That only benefits him, right? But he's trying to make it in a way so that, well, I'm entitled to this and that. No, no, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to lower my standards of self-respect just because somebody finds it a little bit difficult to get with me. That's not going to happen, right? And that is exactly what I told him. I told him that, I reminded him that he's not my boyfriend, and I had to let him know that because he's not my boyfriend, he's not entitled to anything, even remotely close to boyfriend, privileges or entitlement or anything like that. So if he wants more from me, we can have that conversation. We can have the conversation about getting together, being serious, and this and that. But if you just want to stay, a friends with benefits guy, then that's all you're gonna get from me. You're not gonna get treated any better than, then you're not gonna get treated. You're not gonna get any boyfriend treatment out of me, unless you want to be my boyfriend. That's fine. But that was what he was trying to do, and me trying to tell him that me basically trying to tell him no, it put my needs first. It made put my needs first, and I put boundaries around my needs, which is self validating. It showed the level of self respect I had, that I wasn't willing to let go of my standards of self respect. That's number two. And number three, I created a standard for myself, saying that, what, you're like a side guy, or like a friends with benefits guy. So this is the standard that you get. This is the parts that you get of me. Whereas if it was somebody else, then they'll get different parts of me, or all of me, depending on who they are. So it creates standards. Like, I'm not gonna lower my standards because, you know what I mean. Like, I know you guys get it. I know you guys get it. I kind of like run around with the way I talk, but I know you guys get it. And that is sort of the type of thing that you need to develop within yourself. Once you get out of your depression, once you get out of your self-worth issues, once you get out of, like, I hate myself for having mental health issues, and I'm judging myself for having mental health issues. Once you get out of all of that, you start to develop, and you start to develop your self-worth, your self-respect will shoot up as well, right? Because then um, you realize, I guess, your worth as a person. You know what I mean? I don't want to do the whole like cringy, the whole cringy thing. What was the line? That really cringy line. Never mind. Anyway, but yeah, you get to realize that you're worth it as a person. You get to realize, yeah, the whole know your worth thing. I know it gets thrown a lot around a lot with some toxic people. I know my worth, but when you really get out of your mental health hole and you really start to see yourself in a different way, that you can do great, incredible things, and you're capable of really great, incredible things, then you really start to see what knowing your worth means. And then that's when self-respect comes in. That's when you start to strengthen your boundaries and all that kind of stuff. So it really is a journey. Okay, so I just want to show you an example about all of that, because 10 years ago, if he said that to me, knowing the person that I was, this is another thing I want to bring up. So amidst knowing that he's a self-centered person, that that's what he always was and stuff like that, I had to ask myself, because like I said, I developed myself, a lot over the course of our friendship. So I really had to ask myself, if I met him today, knowing who I am today, and knowing who he is today, that he's still the same person, that he's still self-centered and self-absorbed and all that kind of stuff, and self-entitled and all that kind of stuff, would I be friends with him? And the answer is no, I would not be friends with him. I'm a vastly different person than who I used to be. So there's no way I could ever go back to the way I used to be and hang around the same kind of people and be around the same kind of influence, stuff like that. That's just not healthy for me at all. So that's why, it hurts, because I'm a good person. I hate hurting other people's feelings, being the cause of pain and all that kind of stuff. But I would rather, if it's in a situation, yes, I'm a good person, but if it's in a situation where it's me versus you, I'm always going to choose me. I need to always choose me, because I know you are not going to choose me. So I got to choose me. That's how you validate yourself. That's how you get self-respect. That's how you show self-respect. And that's how you set your standards. Okay. So if you find yourself in a situation where you don't know if you should be friends with this person anymore, maybe you're emotionally conflicted, because because you've known each other for so long, and but you're still kind of iffy. Ask yourself that question: if I met this person today, who I am today, would I still be friends with him or her? Okay. And or they, or whatever it is that they identify with. But yeah, that's what you got to ask yourself. Okay, so that is my lesson in all that stuff. And if you need a therapy buddy, give me a shout at my website, buddytherapy.org, and I'll see you later. Bye.